Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Expend to Draw podcast. I am here with the illustrious Law YGO, the beautiful BeanSoldierTV, and the much maligned MBT. How are we all doing
Why
today?
was I not beautiful? What the heck? How come Bean Soldier got beautiful?
M alliterations are hard. That's why.
I mean, are we also just gonna skip over the fact that that Bean Soldier absolutely just jumped Joseph in the order, even though he's a guest?
That's
Well,
okay.
yeah!
I think I am legitimately on this channel less frequently than Josh.
You're still here more frequently than me, so...
That is actually not true. Now that you're doing the Market Watch stuff, you now have an equal number of appearances.
Oh!
Let's go.
Put one on the tally chart for me. So, today we have a lot to cover. We are going to be covering the end of the Electroly's Clash Kickstarter. We're going to be covering the TCG player launch, and of course we're going to be covering MOONRISE, which is now available for pre-order. So if you're going to want to go ahead and get yourself some MOONRISE, be sure to go ahead and go to the Electroly's website to do that. Of course, I would be remiss if I did not let you know that pretty much everyone here has a creator code that you can go ahead and use as an affiliate link before you shop. Just click it before you shop, and it'll take you to the Electroly's website, and then shop as normal to go ahead and help us all continue to make this content for you, as well as...
We got all those links down in the description.
For sure. There's also a TCG player affiliate link if you want to help us out that way.
And that's like a 50-50 at best, if it will work or not.
Yeah, we're not like totally certain on how well TCG player is tracking, but what it is tracking is every time you hit add to cart, it does go to your cart. And if you hit add to cart from the Bean Soldier one, well, you can guess who that seller is. So be sure to go ahead and order from Bean Soldier. If he doesn't ship in time, leave him a negative review. No, don't do that. I'm kidding. He's very busy.
Please
Don't do that. Please don't do it.
Please don't.
In the what's it called? When you're allowed to give seller feedback, ask him why he stopped doing the Nuzlocke.
Ask him when he's going to start.
Understandable.
Ask him why he shaved his beard.
Also, good question.
So let's go ahead and get on into it. We're going to lead off with Electroly's Clash. So Electroly's Clash was obviously the big news last time that we got distracted by the ban list and covered at the very end. But Electroly's Clash, the entire Kickstarter has come and gone. They ended up getting $556,000 raised of their $250,000 goal. A huge amount of money. There were a lot of very cool things that ended up in the stretch goals that we got unlocked. In Kickstarter, backs in game, lots of different stellars and promos that will be coming. 300,000
Art Stellar, come Eddie.
Huge.
We got the Come Eddie mate, right?
Yeah, we did get the come Eddie made
did.
as well.
Oh yeah.
So we also got hardcore ranked mode unlocked. We got Zeus and Artemis raid challenges, all spirit buddies. I guess that goes for everyone that was a Kickstarter backer. We got a draft mode and the Stellar Eddie added to the promo pack, as well as the Eddie mate, the Stellar Eddie mate with, I believe, a Curibus like field background. So
Yeah, it's like it's like a shipwreck. Yeah.
It's like
very
it's
cool.
the pregnancy one.
So of course, Electroly's Clash was a very successful Kickstarter, and alpha access, if you got the alpha access and the $250 and up tier, launches on December 1st is what they're aiming for. And if you got the beta access, they're aiming to have that fully live and functional by January 1st, somewhere in that range.
End of year is the current. So effectively January 1st, yes, but I think December 31st is like the official, like absolute latest day it's going to be.
Perfect. So now that you have that info in mind, be sure to be on the lookout for Electroly's Clash. Again, it is a fully automated, free-to-play digital platform for Electroly's, which is a huge milestone for the game, as well as we said, the full TCG player launch of Electroly's. It's not just, sellers can list for now, and it's coming. No, it is fully live. You can go on TCG Player, and you can shop for Electroly's cards on the TCG Player website as of right now. In addition to that, you can go ahead and, if you are a seller, make sure to go ahead and add some listings for Electroly's, because if there is one thing that they really need right now, it is more listings. So if you've bought a boatload of product in the past, lots of starter decks, lots of booster boxes, please go ahead and list some cards, because while there are some listings available, this product is flying off of this website faster than the current sellers can keep up. And a lot of people want to play this game, and this is the ease of access that we need. So be sure to go ahead and list any spare things you might have.
If
Yeah,
you
big
have
things
any Gorgon's gaze, please God, donate them to the cause.
Or
I
poison
was
tipped
gonna
arrow.
say Gorgon's gaze, poison tipped arrow. I know a Starbit is also flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's
Lava
gone.
Hundreds
Liths-
of rabbits have gone.
Lava Lith
There's
is
one poison-tipped
shockingly
arrow.
spiking in price. I think it's like sitting at 30
Oh my
right
God.
now on there.
Oh, I
And
gotta
needs to be
get my
much
I gotta
lower.
get my
Yeah.
bulk up today.
Yeah, there
I wouldn't
is
necessarily
there is
consider
one.
I wouldn't consider the Lava Lift to be at a $30 price point because they
Yeah,
haven't
no.
sold at that price. It's just chilling there.
That's
no,
not true.
They have.
That's
they
not true.
have
They are
been
selling.
at that
They are
price.
selling at $30.
They sold at 30.
There was one
Yes,
today that
here,
sold
I'm
at
pulling it up right
40.
now.
Yeah, one sold
What?
at 40. Yeah, 20,
Why?
40, 30, 15, 20, 20, 15, 14.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the last
I will
five
say there's
sales.
also one psychopath who sold a full art poison tipped arrow for $20.
Shout out
guy.
to that person.
I'm so sorry, man. I am so sorry.
Yeah, the market price of poison tipped arrow at $20 is an illusion. It should be $120. They missed a 1. So,
That
but
is very
there is literally
unfortunate.
one listing of poison tipped arrow on the entire website right now. Yeah.
Crazy.
So,
There's also only 2 listings of Stellar Arcolith as of the time of this recording.
well, the one that's got me right now, while there are Astrabit listings, the one that's kicking me right now is the base set or the Kickstarter promo for Astrabit. The market price is $20. They're selling at $30. There's only one listing right now
Yep.
for $100.
Yeah, I hate that I missed the boat on that. They were going for 10 at the
I got
start
mine at
of
10s.
the TCG player
Yeah, me too.
drop, and I really wish that I had been able to do that. But regardless of which, most Astrabits right now are hovering around like the $150 to $2 mark. I think there's a couple even for $1 at this point.
Yes.
Which is wonderful to see. I'm really glad to see that we are getting a lot more of these staples like on the marketplace, actually into people's hands. Just saying that the organized play series art is sitting at $7 right now, and that's kind of nuts to me.
The one that's killing me is that the base set Kickstarter edition is only $1, but the base set first edition is $250. I don't know why
Yeah,
the
I
Kickstarter
don't
is
get it.
cheaper than the
Yeah,
base
no,
set.
the Kickstarter. Just quick PSA for people out there who don't know, the Kickstarter cardstock is way better than the first edition cardstock. Has a lot less foil warping on it, so by all means, if you can, get the Kickstarter versions of these cards.
Yeah, this is something that I mentioned in the Market Watch video, is that so I imagine some number of people that watch this podcast, this will be like they don't have like full knowledge of Electrols yet, and so they're going to be going online, going on TCG Player and just ordering a bunch of cards that people say you need these are staples. And for those people, like Law, like you said, be aware that if you order a card, especially foils from base set and Frostfall, those foils, they warp and they pringle, and they are extremely noticeable if you single sleeve a deck.
Yeah.
Double sleeve everything.
I disagree. Just don't buy Frostfall or base set foils if you can help it.
Nah, double sleeve everything.
Double sleeving is
I stand by
cancer.
that.
Don't do that.
Damn, that Lavalith really is coming up.
Yeah, that Lavalith sure seems to be floating to the top. That's crazy.
Another quick shout out, in case you guys aren't watching it, Electriad Season 2 is going on right now. I
Very
believe,
true.
By the time this goes up, we should have wrapped all of the top 16 matches.
Airing.
If you guys like, three out of the 4 of us here have been playing in the Electriad, and I believe as of the top 16, we are all still in it. As a matter of fact, Bean Soldier has his match up against Danny, Luke Von Karma. And then me and Joseph actually have our matchup for the top 16 as well. So if you haven't checked those out yet, be sure to go watch those, slam the like button, root us on.
Absolutely.
Actually, you don't have to go watch them.
No
I
leakers.
wasn't
No
going to
leakers.
spoil it.
No leakers. Quick, somebody message Dan and tell him to make sure they upload the video before this goes live.
Oh, it's already up.
It's already up.
All of those matches
Yeah.
that I mentioned are already up.
Oh, that's
They-
right. You guys' match is up. I watched it. I just forgot. If you are a newer player, it's worth watching the Electriad matches just to get an idea of the plays that good players make, because the Electriad is absolutely packed to the brim with very good, very high skill level players, like 3/4 of this call. I'm not saying who's not the high skill level player.
Look, we all know it's me, okay?
Only one of us is much maligned. Let's go into Shattered Stars Season 2. We have had, actually, a couple of these have come out already. They have really been moving along with these. I'm going to rattle off the cards, and we can stop whenever there's something here that you think is particularly notable that you guys want to talk about. So Zaptor, Galvenom, Funglo, Platypulse, Larvacell, Titanostrike, Zaptor. This Zaptor is same art, but this is the foil version. The Toxon, which the Toxon, the
Gorgeous.
constellation.
Absolutely
Incredible.
It's real
Yeah.
nice.
Arcolith full art is very, very nice.
That's good. It's very nice.
Mount Olympus full art is honestly maybe
That
it's. I
is
think it's
gorgeous.
I think it's actually my favorite card of this.
That
series.
is the thing that has me the most excited for this specific chapter of Shattered Stars, is the fact that we are going to be getting full arts of all 8 stadiums. That is extremely exciting.
Yeah.
The Mount Olympus is gorgeous, and I think we just got the announcement that the next month is going to be Earth. It's going to be Sagittarius with Centaur as the constellation rare. So Feloy Forest full art, I am so ready for that.
Yes, absolutely. And then we also have Thunderbolt of Zeus and Race to the Top. Race to the Top. That's
a good
be
one.
Yeah.
a
nice.
sneaky good pick. So
Yeah.
but
I think
Toxion.
one other.
Do you have a
yeah,
copy of the
the-
Toxion handy? Anybody?
I do.
I
I have
do.
all of them handy, actually.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I also have these handy. So
Oh my God! Yeah, your serialized stellar for this is Arcolith. So beautiful.
not only do see here. So here,
You also pulled the reverse stellar.
I'm
didn't
also
you?
going to be putting up the arts for this in the blur, but
Oh, okay.
we have the Toxion right
So
here.
good.
My camera will focus.
So good.
The Toxion art is absolutely gorgeous. I love that the artwork actually goes beyond the borders of the card. Like the card border is not there for
Yes.
Toxion.
Yeah.
I think that is actually really good looking. For Arcolith, if we can get the camera to focus here. The Arcolith art, I actually think that the full art is the best art of Arcolith. Like, hands down, best art.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that's like a controversial statement.
Then you've got the full art Mount Olympus as well. This just absolutely beautiful, and like I said before, makes me really excited for the rest of this chapter of Shattered Stars.
Oh, yeah.
Because Feloy Forest full art's gonna go nuts
That was the
next
exact one that I was thinking.
month. I don't think I need to show Thunderbolt of Zeus or Race to the Top. They're
Nah.
foil of each of those. But I think my personal favorite card out of this entire set is without a doubt the Reverse Stellar Jolton.
Great
I
choice.
love this little guy. I actually I ended up pulling a bunch of the Reverse Stellar Draking back with the Lunar Shattered Stars month, and I had no intention of ever playing them. I have since now traded 2 of my Reverse Stellar Drakings that I pulled to get 2 additional copies of Reverse Stellar Jolton, so I will have a playset.
That is
Awesome.
simply
Very nice.
how the good ones do it.
Yeah. and then okay, yeah, we got the serialized Arcoliths. I think the biggest disappointment here is the fact that this art is not as good as the full art.
It's
Sure.
really not.
Yeah.
Scorpio this month, and we already know that we have Sagittarius next month.
Yes.
If the order were to follow the, astrological zodiac signs, Zodiac.
signs, not Zodiac.
Zodiac.
I've been absolutely brainwormed. My bad. Oh my God. All right. If it were to follow the zodiac signs in order from Sagittarius, which we already know is Centaur, and it's going to be Earth themed, From there, it would go to Capricorn, then Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra. And that would be the order, which makes sense because the Scorpio month was November, which the dates for Scorpio is October 24th, November 22nd. So most of November. Same thing with Sagittarius. It's most of December. So like it actually like does track the signs. That explains why they started with Scorpio instead of starting with Capricorn, which would be most of January, which would be the first one on the calendar. So to me, it just tracks that we're going to be getting these in order. And if that is the case, Capricorn, probably Caprigal, right?
Well, so here's the thing. While naturally I would say Caprigal, I am very hesitant to say it because that would mean that month 3 is going to be water. And I am almost dead set that Pisces is going to be Aphoros. Just because what else could it be? Like Magnaros, maybe, but we've already done a Thunder month.
Well, the thing is, there's 12 of these, and there's only 8 elements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, we're going to get overlap closer to the end, but I would imagine that they're going to be doing, like, each element gets 1 month before we start getting into repeats.
Yeah, the one that's interesting to me is Aquarius because obviously it's like aqua, water, duh. But I think it's worth mentioning that Aquarius is often symbolized by like flowing water or like somebody pouring water out of a pot. And we were in a phone call together, Law, and you mentioned this. You said it would actually be sick to have Nog. You know,
a constellation art nectar of the gods.
Yeah, and have
that
the whole
really
month
cool.
be runes. Yeah, that would be spectacular.
Like staple runes, that would actually be really
and
cool.
Libra is symbolized by a set of scales, so that also would make sense. Something, you know, you could do something with runes with that, I'm sure. But we'll see where it goes from here. I'm interested to see how they do the astrological signs going through.
I will say, I think probably the most interesting thing about it is that because of like the precedent that they've already set with Scorpio, and that they already revealed the full art liths will be in the first 8 packs, because they already revealed like the full artwork for the 8 liths altogether. It kind of has shown their hand a little bit in that we basically know what the main foils for all of the remaining set, for like every single set's going to be.
Not the main foil, just one of the full arts.
Yeah, well, the only one that's kind of up in the air is the Constellation Rare. But the full art lith we know is going to be there. Full art Stadium we know is going to be there. Full art, or not full art, foil of the artifact for that element is going to be there. And then I've been theorizing that the that the rune that they put in for the foil is going to be either their Frostfall rune that each element got then, or something specifically from Daybreak or Moonrise for Solar and Lunar.
Yeah, I think the weird part about that though is that, like, specifically for Lunar and Solar, there really isn't a rune for them because they already did that with First Light and Dense Fog.
Right.
So I'm curious to see what they do for those 2 elements in particular because they already did those. All the other Frostfall ones I agree with.
My guess is Helios' Slumber will be the Solar one, which is a card from Moonrise. I don't think that there is a really good Lunar one that lines up for it, though.
No.
But I will say, my
Slumber
guess
is so bad, too.
Yeah, like that's... oh, my God.
My guess is that we're going to be seeing foil Ambrosia Cornucopia next month.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, sure, yeah.
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 Also,
I think the one other thing, too...
Rest in power words.
Yeah.
Everyone don't forget to sub to words.
Yeah, sub to
words. Sub to words.
it is worth throwing out there that something like Taurus, while the like obvious things like Tectaurus or something like that, they could use that particular moment to do the new one, Cryptaurus, and use that for Lunar.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
I mean, I still think I'm going to be completely fair. When they announced that this was going to be Scorpio month, I'm like, and they showed the Toxon, I'm like, oh, cool, we're going to get a Toxoswarm one too. And no,
No,
we
ain't gonna
did
happen.
not.
I think one thing that no one likes to touch on in the Shattered Stars packs, and one like sneaky little thing that they put in there, was the foils of all the commons. And I thought that was
that's
such
right.
a nice addition to Season 2 that no one thanks them for. I think that is so cool. It's just a nice little tiny thing that they add into every single pack.
What?
Here, 1 second. I'll pull
Yeah.
them out.
So
I have
every single one of the commons comes as a foil in addition to the foil at the back of the pack.
Wait,
So there
really?
are 2 foils per
They-
pack.
Yeah, Sonny, they took your advice on the making the circle the sky slot in the pack and actually did something like that. And every single common that comes in the set also has
they're all
a
reverses.
reverse foil version.
Yeah, it's sick. It's so
They
good.
did it.
It is.
I said they should
it
do
is-
that. They did it.
Yeah, it is really nice. I fully agree with you, Josh, that is probably the coolest addition that they've done. Granted, none of the Thunder ones were particularly great. Maybe Titano Strike, but we haven't really seen that come to fruition yet. But it does give me hope that specifically with Earth Month coming up, we're probably about to get some reprints of very big Earth Electrols with that, because obviously Earth has been one of the most powerful archetypes in the game for a while now.
Hell yeah.
And we're probably looking at reverse foils and reprints of a bunch of really good ones. My heart is hoping for a reverse foil Equilinx.
Exactly what I was going to say. Exactly what I was going to say.
We really do play the best trading card game, don't we?
We
do.
really
We
do.
really
I think with the TCG player launch, like, we have hit a point where I think over the next year, Electrols is really going to take off, and I am so excited to see where this year.
Getting into Moonrise, let's go ahead and start. I think the best thing to do here is just for me to start rattling off the cards in order, and you guys stop me when there's something here worth talking about.
Every card.
And pretty much every card has something worth talking
All right,
about.
well then let's blaze through it. We have a lot to talk about. So let's talk about the Nobby line.
Good. It's good.
Yeah.
I like
Is
Na'Vi,
the whole
I like
line good?
Doppelganger. I think the condition for Doppelganger to Fulgorix is not going to happen particularly often. I think there are some cards you can play we'll get to later that will guarantee it a little more. I think Doppelganger is a good card by virtue of existing. I think that, like, Nobby is a good card. Ascending into a 2 off of him is good. Being able to threaten that is good. It feels a lot like Twindra to me, except a noticeable improvement over Twindra because he doesn't die to a 1-drop. I don't know. I like it. I don't love it.
I think Nobby, if Lunar is bad, is a good card. And I think that's the thing that terrifies me the most, is that I think Lunar will be good, which means Nobby is bad, because it can't use its effect in most circumstances. And like we saw, like with the first Daybreak tournament, that there was a huge representation of Solar.
Yeah.
So especially with the first couple tournaments, everybody's going to be very excited to play with the brand new toy, which then means that Nobby is bad because Lunar is going to be everywhere.
So does that just mean that Nobby is a side deck card in a Lunar strategy?
Yes. So it could be one of the best side deck cards for Lunar, but I don't know how good the line is if everybody is on Lunar.
I will take what Josh is saying there and kind of push it forward a little bit. If Lunar is not good, I downright say that Nobby is one of the best offensive Electrols that we have ever seen in this entire game. Nobby coming down into a board that is not Lunar or Solar enchanted makes Nobby a 6 attacker. Nobby then runs over something and immediately puts down what is effectively a 9 attacker, because Doppelganger's own drop will happen, which is 2 because he's going to be properly enchanted with 2 Lunar, and then the Nobby drop is still going to be in effect, which is another 2. So Doppelganger, even though it has 5 printed on it, effectively comes down as a 9 and then can immediately attack, is the big thing.
Yeah.
What about Fulgorix?
Cool card.
Fulgorix I don't think is
it's
really
nice.
worth it. It's a fun card, but I do not think it's going to be meta viable. But I think 3 Nobby, 1 Doppelganger is going to be a very common package that you see in decks when Lunar specifically is not viable.
Got it. All right, let's move on to the Fawnlit line of Fawnlit, Theraheart, and Posthumous.
Fawnlet bad.
I don't know. I don't know Fawnlet bad. I think Fawnlet bad is just a question of like how. Okay, here's what I'll say. Fawnlet bad. I think it's easy to get in your head and be like, there may be a deck that wants to search Artemis, and like for that reason, Fawnlet is good, right? It like searches Artemis, and then if you have it, it searches a guy to get over. But Therahard is pretty mid, and there's 2 other Elestrals I think I would play before Fawnlet that search Artemis, right?
Yep. It's interesting that Therahard is a negate, but like we acknowledge that it's not a great card.
It's like what's the second ascension of or the first ascension of the camel? Pheramel. It's like the same kind of thing as that, where like you can't attack, but like okay, I just won't attack.
I just think that Pharaohgeist is a better build towards than Posthumous. And that's just kind of the sad truth of it, is that Pharaohgeist was realistically one of the best 3-drops that they could have printed for Lunar. And it came out just before Lunar was a viable strategy. I think we are going to see a lot more Pharaohgeist now that Lunar is actually somewhat viable here.
I am terrified of that card.
Yeah, that card is terrifying because the best answer for it does not work because Shield of Achilles cannot bounce it back to hand.
Well, that we had a ban list, so...
Yeah.
I think that Pharaohgeist is one of the spookier cards in the game, but I do think Posthumous is very cool. I do think that Posthumous will have its place as a kill shot in the deck. I don't know that it'll need it because it does seem to have its offensive firepower, but I don't know. I think it has its place.
Offensive firepower is Pharaohgeist, and
I mean
really
Lunar
the
decks
problem.
in particular.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing, is that Pharaohgeist will, if you are going to be doing a 3-drop,
I meant non-3
get
drop.
aggressive.
I meant non-3 drop because you can be aggressive without a 3 drop. Is what I was. I guess that's what I was.
You were
implying.
saying specifically Posthumous. That's why.
Right, but I guess I'm saying what I'm trying to say is that Posthumous as a 3 drop is a lot of commitment in a deck that can already get aggressive without one. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
My bad.
Okay.
I did not relate
I
that
understand
clearly.
the point now. Okay.
I didn't relate that clearly. My bad. Are we ready to move on to the Voldusk line?
I'm going to be completely fair. There is a lot of potential here, but I am not the person to figure it out because it is a lot of, you have to play a very specific core of the lunar phases in order to make this work.
There is a line of 8 cards called Lunar Phase. Each Lunar Phase has a different title. There are a large number of cards in Moonrise that work off of the lunar phases in the same sense that Latagon and Drataya worked off of Golden Apple of Discord and Ambrosia. Voldusk, Volumbra, Volclips, how are we feeling about these in conjunction with the lunar phases? Is there an entire lunar phase deck that is worth building and playing? Is this maybe too much commitment to one strategy? I mean, realistically, how many lunar phases do you have to play and how many of them are actually good, right?
This deck is sick. This deck is awesome.
Wait. Josh saying this deck is sick implies to me that the deck is cool, not good.
Okay.
Are we back on the solar hype? Like the same kind
never
of
again.
feeling.
We're never going to solar hype again.
Never again. I will never hype up a deck as much as I did Celestial ever again. The deck is really good. Every single... this is going to be a basis for every single card in this set. That I think there aren't a lot of cards in this set that compete with the power of cards that we already have. And I think that that's not great. While these cards are very cool, I always have to ask myself, how does this beat Earth? That's a really not great question to ask. And I ask the same thing with like Race to the Top Thunder. How does this beat an Arcolith? And there aren't great answers to that. The deck is sick. Now, granted, like I haven't tested this thing a whole lot. It has an infinite amount of tools, but there is a very big lack of removal, and that's where I think the Lunar's going to have issues. We have 8 cards here, lunar phases, and only one of them pops something.
Real quick on the lunar phases, can we just agree that full moon is just kind of nuts, actually?
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, are we going to get on my full moon rant?
Go into your full moon rant.
Oh my god, this is the most broken card in the set. It's... Dear God, I can't believe they printed this card. there's so many applications for this thing in non-lunar decks that just get to play this to put 2 spirits on their board and win the game. So the one thing that I like to coin is Altergeist. Any deck that can play Altar of Stars can play Pharaohgeist now because of Full Moon. So you could play Thunder Pharaohgeist, where if a rabbit sticks to the board, you flip Full Moon, and all of a sudden your rabbit turns into a Pharaohgeist. Any Celestial turns into Pharaohgeist now with Full Moon. And that is a terrifying precedent to set. I don't know if that's good yet. In testing, it's been insane. But
I will say
yeah.
the support that Lunar specifically has gotten, like completely just not having to do with the Lunar phases, but Pharaohgeist got a Searcher. So, like, the fact that Pharaohgeist got a Searcher makes that a lot scarier to me.
Absolutely.
Like, at first in the theory phase, it kind of was in the same position to me as Wet Terror is. Like, oh, you have to see both Penterror and the Poseidon to make it happen. And, like, yeah, you could search the Poseidon, but Penterror is still just something you have to find.
Yeah.
The fact that Pharaohgeist is actually searchable now makes that a lot scarier of a prospect.
So Voldusk, Volumbra, Volclips. Are they good?
Voldusk is good, the other ones are bad.
The other
Yeah.
two are quite bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Gloombat and
Sorry.
Phasmacore.
Gloombat is so funny. I think it is hilarious that they printed this card. We've had this for a little while, right? And
Yeah.
it is not terrible right now. I think that it has its uses. There's like some cool scenarios where you can like start eating away back row. But in a world post-Hurricane and post-Aviolith to a lesser extent, I think it's very possible that people's play patterns in terms of back row change so sufficiently that you never get to use this guy, which is just so funny. Like, enjoy Gloombat. You no longer need to use Gloombat.
Yeah, I will say, I think it's a good thing that they gave Gloombat to us early, because right now Gloombat has applications in the meta.
Right.
But I do not think, I fully agree with you, I do not think that those applications are going to really matter as much in a post-Hurricane world.
100% agree.
Hurricane's such an interesting card to me. We'll come back to that. What about Phasmacore?
This card's insane.
This card is very funny. They have 3 attempts at Treeborn Frog in this set. This is the most promising.
The fact that it basically demands a Gorgon's Gaze and a kill spell is really solid. It has only 1 defense, so it is very easy to take out with basically any of the removal options. Edward absolutely comes to mind there, but it fully requires you to commit a Gorgon's Gaze if you want to get rid of it for good.
Gotcha. Hypnosum.
Nah.
It's neat.
Here's the thing. I really like the design of both Hypnosum and Ectopossum. I hate that they're in Lunar.
What?
I think that these would do so much better if they were in Frost specifically, because Frost currently is the deck that wants to mill. I think that in Lunar, they do not do enough because there is not enough in Lunar to enable them currently.
It's weird too, because I don't think that even Frost needs these cards with the other stuff that they got, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
All right. Toxiri and Night Venom.
I don't have too much to say about these guys that I haven't said elsewhere. I'm trying to figure out a reason they are not good. At present, they read really crazy.
It kind of goes with the Nabi stuff, right? Where, like, if Lunar is everywhere, then Dense Fog is bad, which then means Toxiri is bad. There's a lot of very scary stuff that you can do with Dense Fog. Do y'all know the Dense Fog rolling?
Yeah.
The fact that this card can be skill drain?
Dense Fog goes until the end of the Dense Fog goes
Until the end phase.
The end phase. So if you activate it in the end phase, it
the end
continues
phase.
for the entire next turn.
That's hilarious.
Because until the end phase denotes it being until the start of the end phase.
I will say, regardless of which they're, Toxiri on its own, into anything that is not specifically a Lunar matchup, Toxiri on its own represents a 4/6 at a bare, not really at a bare minimum. That is kind of its max out. It's a 4/6. Because you can flip up the dense fog even if you're not wanting to like actually skill drain a board. You can still flip up the dense fog and Toxiri just goes up on its defense value because you're suppressing their your effective defense value because you're dropping their attack. I'm less pilled on Night Venom. I do think that there is a place for Night Venom, but I'm not sold on it yet. But Toxiri is one of those Lunar cards, like Nabi, that I think is really good.
I think it's worth noting here, Josh, you said earlier that Toxiri is a card that will float out of rotation as if Lunar's good, Toxiri floats out. If Lunar's bad, Toxiri floats in. But I think it's worth noting that Night Venom, yes, Dense Fog becomes a markedly worse card, but Night Venom gives you a reason to still have Dense Fog in your deck. So I wonder if you play Toxiri no matter what and side the Night Venom in. If you are in a Lunar matchup, that way you can use the Night Venom to just discard the Dense Fog that you searched.
Yeah, I guess like though, if I'm playing into a Lunar matchup, I would just side better cards in than keeping those.
Totally
You know what I
fair.
mean?
So does this mean that like if you're playing Lunar, then you have to overside for the Lunar Mirror?
Potentially. I'm not completely convinced of that, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. I think the other issue too is how good do we expect Dense Fog to be? Because as of present, it's been terrible.
It's been hit or miss so far, for sure.
It's been missed
I
for me
think-
pretty much consistently.
Yeah.
The issue is that it's like what you said, like does it outclass the cards that already exist? And as of now, Dense Fog does not outclass Shield of Achilles. It does not outclass Gorgon's Gaze. It does not. I mean, the presence of cards like Ashtrabbit, Eddy, and Mudlet in the format, and even like Arcolith and Lavalith, essentially these cards triggering on cast causes Dense Fog to be a markedly worse card.
I think the question though is it being searchable? Does that change it? Does that change anything?
No,
think
it doesn't change its
changes a
application.
lot. I disagree.
I don't know.
actually. I think that it does change its application because of other cards in this set. There are a lot of Lunar cards that specifically just care about how many things on the board are suppressed.
That is
and
true.
I do think that specifically once we get into the Lunar Lith, I think that's where Dense Fog really does kind of shine. But we will get into that with Necrolith in a little bit.
Sure. All right. So Toxiri good, Night Venom to be determined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Werepup like a Void.
Unbelievable.
I legitimately am terrified of Like a Void. The fact that you can just go Werepup into Like a Void with the Full Moon. Full Moon enchants 2 additional spirits onto Like a Void. It is now completely immune to counter runes, and it does piercing damage. That is a 4-spirit Elestral that is about to push at minimum, really on average, 3 spirits worth of damage, and is about to clear something. I think that it's not even just as a way to come up from Werepup, though I do think that that is good. I think that Like a Void just being a bomb in Lunar is really scary.
All right.
Send
Be on
a
the
game.
lookout for the rulings team clarifying how Unaffected works. All right. Havacub and Pulveror.
Okay, Havacub sucks ass. Pulveror, very interesting card. Very happy I was able to show this one off. Thank you, Mr. Drive. I think this card's really cool. I think that we all kind of expect that Lunar decks will... I mean, I don't know how you all feel about it. We'll probably play Artemis just because of, like, a card that we'll get to a little later that I think is way above board. But the existence of that card in this deck means that, like, pretty much any Lunar Elestral can become a 7/4 that hits for 2. That's crazy. That's, like, really good. I think this is a reason to consider playing a bad card like Fawnlet also.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
I would agree with that. I mean,
Yeah.
playing Fawnlet, so
Fawnlet
you
being
can go...
able to search Artemis allows you to do this on its own.
I think one other cool application for Pulveror, dodges PTA.
That is true. Okay. Drakid and Draking are known quantities at this point, but I
Skip.
would say that they get markedly worse at this point because of the presence of Lunar.
I would act. I mean, in some circumstances, yes, but in others, no. The fact that Lunar is going to be more present in the meta.
I
means
got
that
it wrong.
Draking's
I got its effect reversed.
I was gonna say it gets
I got
way
its
better,
effect
right?
backwards. It
Yeah,
gets
no,
way
it
better.
gets way
I got its
better.
effect backwards. Ah, don't yell at me.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's
I'll
okay.
say
I
it,
was
though,
talking to
Draken ain't
Joseph.
connecting any more than it already has.
Yeah, I mean, at the
I
end
think
of the
that
day,
kind
it's
of is the long
still
and short.
it's
Still a
the guy
total
he's
of
been.
0.
Yeah. All right.
It is a back row magnet.
It really is. Corvuskull.
Crazy
Boy, I
card.
read this. I read this card wrong. I still think it's quite good.
I'm
I
I'm
thought
reading
it
it for the
was-
first time.
I thought it was when you enchant it, you can foretell 3 and then swap a foretold card with a spirit in your underworld. You cannot do that.
That is correct. You
No.
can't do that.
I thought that would be fucking awesome. But still,
Imagine
I
foretelling
think
a
this
spirit.
is. I think this is worse than Astrabbit, but better than Corvishine, which is a fantastic place to be. That
Yes.
puts it in like a top 5 Elestrals.
I would argue that Corvuskull is more comparable to Ash Rabbit
Yeah.
than anything else.
Yeah.
for sure.
Notably, it
This
does
is
not
the
add one
best-
of the foretold cards to your hand. It just foretells 3.
Well, it foretells 3, and then you can exchange it with any card in your underworld. So it is even though it's going to be delayed by a turn, it is a guaranteed hit version of Ash Rabbit.
Yeah, in a
Because
sense.
Ash Rabbit has to reveal 3 and your opponent picks. Corvuskull, you just get to pick.
I'll be honest. I
It's
don't
going to be
think this
delayed
is
by a turn, but you do get it.
I don't think this is
I
a
will say-
particularly strong card, if I'm being honest
I'll
with
say
you.
it. This is the best Frost support that we've ever gotten.
It really is.
That's a fair point.
This card is so good.
I love where your head's at, dude.
Oh my god. This card's insane.
This
Okay, I
with
hadn't
the
thought about
new Blistrix stuff
yeah.
actually does
Thank you.
really
Thank you.
nuts.
We will get to it.
All right,
Oh
Bandolin.
my god.
Bad.
Bandaloon
Bad
is
Daloon.
ass.
More like
Bad
bad
Daloon.
Daloon. More like bad
I-
to lose.
Easy.
I don't see how, in any respect, you are going to be committing 3 spirits to take a back row. I do not see how that, I just don't see that being good enough for your normal cast.
Especially if it's chainable.
Yeah, exactly. Gorgon's Gaze exists.
All right,
Tsunami
Wraith.
exists.
Yeah.
Even worse than Bandaloon.
This card is
Yeah.
a sleeper. This card's very good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at minimum, it's a 4 attacker. Oh,
This
I
thing's
see
an-
where Josh's head is
this
at.
hi- this thing's an
this is
8-2.
This is a full moon. This is a full moon hitter. So you full moon.
Wait,
to
you're
put
telling
3
me
spirit.
This
You could
critter
put a-
will win combat after being full mooned? Oh my god. There's nothing else that does that.
Yeah, but it's an 8 attacker with full moon.
You're telling me that Lunar needs a beater?
No.
There's like a million things that does this thing's jobs better, right?
My point being is that I don't like Porcuraith, but I can absolutely see where Josh is coming from.
No, this card's really good.
Well,
Sleeper.
we're gonna
Sleeper.
see it in the topping BeanSoldierTV deck list, I'm sure. Either that or we won't. So
True. True.
Comalis.
Comalis is absolutely nuts. and
Comalis. That makes way more sense.
I will not pretend like it is not.
So this card
This-
searches Porcuraith importantly, and I
Yeah.
just received some information that card's quite good.
Yes. Yes.
Much more importantly, this card searches Pharaohgeist. It nexuses up a spirit. It nexuses up a lunar spirit and searches Pharaohgeist.
Yeah,
That is really scary.
Pairs really well with Full Moon.
So while Corvuskull is a receiver activator that has a lot of potential, is there anything else that's really worth nexusing to in Comalis other than Ascension plays?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Ascension plays. The fact that you can basically set up any Elestral to ascend into Pharaohgeist and then search the Pharaohgeist is nuts. Like, this is by far and away the best card Pharaohgeist could have gotten.
Fair enough. All right, next is
tied with Full Moon.
yes.
I'm not gonna hop off Full Moon. I love that card too much.
Thank you for validating my feelings.
Next is Cryptaris, my only question is, why are his eyes so pronounced? Why is eye like that?
I don't see. I really
it.
don't see the sauce with Cryptaris. Like, I understand why. The idea there is that he can go up to 4 attack with his own effect,
Yippee.
and he also lets you get up your big drops. I just don't think that that's good enough to justify expending the Lunar and normal casting him for it. Like, it just... I do not see the sauce with Cryptaris. I'm willing to be 100% wrong on this, but I actually just do not like this card.
I don't like this card for a number of reasons. Yeah, I don't like this card for a number of reasons.
Reading it now, I'm realizing that maybe this has some kind of sauce that it could do with Solar, but I do not think that that is worth pursuing personally.
Yeah.
This is why we need Trish in here.
The key is to Corvuskull and then
This is
Cryptaris.
not the solar sauce.
Okay.
This is not the solar sauce.
This
I'm glad
card
that
freaks me out in the same way that the end of Who Framed Roger Rabbit freaks me out.
What, when I killed your brother?
He foretold just like this.
Yeah, like when the guy gets all like big-eyed and everything and like goes all freaky at the end. That's how this card makes me feel, and I don't like it. Let's move on to Necrolith.
Necrolith is the reason why I think that Toxiri is actually way better than I think we were giving it credit for.
This card's fucking unbelievable. I know it reads only okay. If you've ever played with Necrotol, this is like the greatest card in the set, bar none.
Is Necrolith in either of the starter decks?
No.
How
it is like
expensive will
Lava
this card be?
It won't be.
$8.
It won't be that bad. It'll be on par or worse than Arcolith. I'd actually say probably closer to Morolith. Because it's good in a very specific deck, but
Is
it
Morolith
is not
expensive?
generically good. No,
Morolith's
Morolith's
like
like $5.
I've got like 40 of them, so...
Yeah. No, Necrolith is nowhere near the power of Lavalith.
Yeah.
If we're trying to do a comparison here.
As far as the liths go, though, I do think it's probably somewhere in the middle in terms of power. The 7 attack alone is really scary. The fact that it comes down and nukes something, as long as you have dense fogged that turn effectively, is also really, really solid. I do not think that you are ever getting this off without dense fog having gone off, though.
I think that's the issue, though, right? Because, like, they need... Either you need, like, an Artemis pair with a dense fog, or a Gorgons, or they need to have 2 non-lunar Elestrals on their field, and you also have to have a dense fog on your turn to then Necrolith.
I think you all are conceptualizing this card is good if you cast it for its effect and bad if you don't. I think this card is crazy if you ascend into it.
I mean, yeah, the Ascension there is good, but the fact is you still have to, in order to get its effect off, you still have to have, your opponent still has to have a suppressed Elestral.
Yeah.
Which means that you're burning either an Artemis proc, which means you have to have the Artemis, or a Gorgon's Gaze proc, and I don't really know if you want to burn a Gorgon's Gaze for that.
It's
And
the
on your turn.
It's the flexibility that matters, though, right? Because if you don't want to trigger its effect, you don't have to. It's a 7/3.
I guess my point there being is that Lunar already has better two drops that are can get aggressive.
Like, I'd rather cast a Phasmacore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't.
All right, well...
Really? Okay.
Let's
I'm
make a
willing to
bet.
be wrong on this one. I think this card's crazy.
How much will this card be about within a week of release on TCG Player? Taking all bets.
$5. $5.
$8.
Given the way that TCG Player currently looks, I'm going to say $45.
That's fair. All right, speaking of cards that are way overpriced, Ardbud, Arvarum, and Antitan. By the way, if you have any of these, if you have any of these tournament pack Stellars, they're all like $15.
Here's the thing. I love this line. I love this line a lot. I think that this line is really cool, especially because it is Earth and Lunar, because that plays really well with Viscerus and Spectaris. But I think the problem is it is not really... It doesn't feel self-contained enough to feel like it could be really powerful. Like, Ardbud seems like it actually is really nuts. just because it can come down. When it comes down, it's already received, so you can search for a Viscerus or a Spectaris. You Earth Nexus onto it, it can search the other. Hop on Electrols, am I right? But I do not really see the sauce connecting with its other two. I think that Titan is one of the coolest Electrols that is like a build around for this set, like to build up to, but I do not think it is going to be really playable, unfortunately. Ardbud, for me personally, the main thing that it reads is the fact that every time this receives, you're searching an insectoid, and there are some really good insectoids between Earth and Lunar. There are some really good insectoids.
I don't love the wording on this card's effect, but it seems cool.
I mean, yeah, it's a Chronodile situation for sure.
I think give this line a few sets, and this deck will be crazy. We just need more insects. Or a meta where like an insect deck is the best deck. And this would be a crazy road pick.
Yeah, no, we just need a meta where Spivey is best.
All right, next up we have Clovey, who looks exactly the same in the cold that I do. And Clovey's new ascension, Cedarslayer.
I will say Cedarslayer feels like it's at odds with itself.
Nah, this card's crazy.
This card's nuts.
I think it's a good card, but I feel like it is constantly at odds with itself, because when you do get it out via its effect, it's going to come out misenchanted, because there is no option to cast it with 1 Earth, 1 Frost, meaning that you'll have to either spend your normal cast for the turn to properly enchant it, or you have to have some other way to get it properly enchanted and up right then. But if you can get its effect off, it is nuts. I fully agree with that.
Oh, I don't even think we need to get the effect off to search. I just think that special casting when it's sent to the underworld is crazy.
I guess in the Frost strategy, it would be kind of nuts, right?
Yeah. It's just another target.
Yeah.
It's way better than Ectoplasm.
Listen, we're playing Electrols. Josh is playing Tearlament.
Well, but I kind of agree with Joseph here. Is this really something that Frost needs? Realistically, for this to be a bomb that Frost actually cares about, the stats would need to be swapped on that. I don't really think that Frost, when it's milling and wants to hit something like this, I don't really think it wants the defensive body.
Fair enough.
All right, we're halfway through. We're like a third of the way through. Torchin.
I think
want
Torchin's
him
funny.
to be so good. I want him to be good.
I think he's absolutely trash, but I think he is also really funny. I say as I have my prototype Torchin sitting on my
Same.
I got to technically reveal this because I was the first
better.
person who got a Torchin.
I like my
So I have a little bit of personal like attachment to this, and I think it's just not good.
Yeah.
I hate that I'm saying that because I love this card, but every time I go into the thought process on this as like, okay, I can commit a Torchin, I can then attach an artifact to him, I can have Hephaestus up, that searched the artifact, I can recover 6 whole fire spirits with that. But I committed 6 fire spirits to do that.
It meant that it was free. It was free. This card's
but also, yes, it technically it's free at that point. But also that means that you have to have 6 fire spirits in your discard that you are putting back.
Not hard to do for fire.
Yeah, but like
this feels like a late game win more card.
Let me put it this way. Torchin is the best Electral to attach a Necklace of Harmonia to in the game, because it is constantly putting the spirits that you're expending for Harmonia back into your spirit deck.
I don't know if a 6/1 is that good. That's expending 2 every turn.
But that's kind of my point, is that it's expending 2, it's recovering 3 every time it attacks at that stage. I don't think it's good. I really don't think it's good.
But you're already playing
God,
Necklace of Harmonia
I want
in the
this
fire
to be
deck.
good.
True. We are.
You are already playing Necklace of Harmonia. You may as well.
I'm going to test it. I'm gonna test it. I want to see if it's good.
Schnark and Joblin.
I love
Insane.
Schnark.
I think that Schnark
Snark is so funny.
is easily one of the best water cards that we've gotten since Eddie, but obviously that's like last
I'll go
set.
even further. I will say that Snark is one of the water cards of all time.
Schnark searching can search Joblin, can search Tsunami High Tide, and very notably can search Draken.
Okay, am I
and
crazy?
Rock in a Hard Place.
Am I crazy?
Oh yeah, it can also search.
Does it only
Yeah.
search cards that cost a lunar and a water?
Yeah.
You are correct. That is exactly what it does. But that's already 4 targets.
Cool.
This card's crazy in Pauper.
The fact alone that it can search Draking and Rock in a Hard Place before we even look at anything else being added in the set, I think that already puts Schnark into consideration for some decks.
Oh, we should set
But
4.
then also the fact that it can search for the Joblin and Tsunami High Tide, I think that actually puts it a little bit up even further. Just
I wish it said water or lunar.
Nah,
that it's fine the way it is.
that'd be too good.
I will say Joblin I am not sold on.
I want to I want to try this deck
I
out.
want him to be good because I do really like his effect. I think that 8 attack has kind of proven itself to be like the premier top end of 2-drops. And I do think that this has potential. I don't know if it's really worth searching over any of Schnark's other 3 targets.
Oistillery.
I don't hate Oistillery. I think it kind of occupies the same space. I said this in the thing as Locagon. It's like a cool top end for like Wexus, but like I don't think that deck is very good.
I will say I think that Oistillery is, in my opinion, better than Locagon because it can self-trigger.
Sure.
And more importantly, can effectively trigger on the same turn that you ascend into it, unlike Locagon, which very standardly will need you to normal cast a water Elestral with it, unless you are like death gripping Ambrosius.
I think this dude might be better than Locagon or Kuribus,
Yeah.
right?
Oistillery is definitely better than Locagon. I do not know about Kuribus.
Okay.
Because Kuribus did get better because Rock in a Hard Place is now searchable.
Okay. Moving on to Starbit.
Yeah.
Starbit Basic, I do not think is going to make the cut. Starbit Supernova, I think is really funny as a one-off that you play in a deck already playing Foamy.
All
I
right.
could see this being a whole build around. I think that
That's
you could
fair.
see whole Starbit decks.
I mean, it is fair that the Starbit Ascension up, the fact that it will always keep the spirits in play is a pretty big draw.
Yeah.
But I still think that it's going to see better usage as a one-off that you can potentially summon off of Foamy. That is a 7-drop off of Foamy.
I'm excited to see Argo, Necklace of Harmonia, Starbit decks. All right, moving on to Electrifly, Electronite, and Titanostrike. And Magneros. We're going to do all of the Thunder while we're here. Just do all of them.
Half of these
Electronite.
are game-changingly powerful.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
And that is Electrify and Electronite.
Yeah. Those
Are they?
Well,
What?
I do actually kind of agree with Joseph here that Magneros is really freaking good, and I think the main thing that it had to do is be a better Nexuser than
Larvacell.
And a Larvacell. All it had to do was be a better Thunder Nexuser than Larvacell
it's not.
to stick the landing. It
No, it
is.
totally
It's
is.
much
Oh,
better.
then Larvacell? Yeah.
Yeah, it's way better than Larvacell.
I
It's
got
not as
Invoke
good as
Rune and
fucking-
Artifact Rune backwards. Yeah, it's better. My bad.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
That's my bad.
Magneros off of its Foretell, Magneros has the ability to grab freaking Race to the top.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And-
It's definitely better. It's definitely better.
Yeah.
I thought it was Artifact. It's
But
been a long
more
day.
importantly here, I want to make sure that it's clear. Magneros does not search a 1 Thunder Invoke Room. It just searches it can grab a Thunder Invoke Room. So Thunderstorm is also grabbable with this, and I do think
Yeah.
that it should be a consideration now that Magneros is coming into the playing field. Also, Magneros once again, I think the cool thing about this is you can structure it to go Astrabit search for its receive, chain Magnaros. So you get the foretell, you get to get your pick off, you shuffle the deck, and then you get an Astrabit look as well.
Notice, most importantly, Electrofly searches Astrabit.
I think that if Electronite is good, then Thunder has hit a critical mass. I don't know if it's going to be worth taking a turn out in Thunder to set this up to search its pieces. And I think that a deck that does that is going to have to commit too much deck space to this and away from what Thunder is good with to be worth it. But I do think that if Electronite is playable for Thunder, Thunder has already become the best deck in the format, and you are just fucking with it.
But it searches Astrabit, which is cool. All right.
Also searches Electric Jolton.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Winjin Tornasian.
I have no opinion on these.
Tornasian?
I actually really like these, not for wind decks, but specifically for solar decks. You're already going to be doing a lot of foretelling in solar. Being able to call the top card of your deck is a super simple task for this, and that just gives you an 8-drop bomb, whether or not you get Tornasian's other... his search effect is not really going to be consistent enough to be worthwhile, but just the fact that he is a 8-drop that you will consistently have access to because of the nature of solar, I think that alone makes it a little bit worth considering.
I actually agree. I think that these cards are very cool in solar.
Yeah, because you can go 3 Winjin, 1 Tornadian, and anytime you've already foretold in solar, you can just drop Winjin, call the top card, summon an 8-drop.
All right. Next we have Carry On, and like 15 minutes peeking into my twisted reality would leave most minds broken. Would just Carry On's older brother, Carry Off.
I think you mispronounced Dense Rob.
Dense Rob.
Dense Rob.
Okay, is Carry Off good?
No.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Aviolith.
Bad in a world where Hurricane exists.
Again, so funny they released this guy in the same set as Hurricane. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
This would have been incredible in Daybreak.
Here's my theory on Aviolith. I think there is a possibility that, we'll talk about this when we get to Hurricane, that Hurricane is a very bad card. Like, that its existence warps play patterns so that people only set one card, but if that's the case, then Hurricane is not very good. If people play around people playing around that and cutting Hurricane because it's bad in that situation, then this card becomes good. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could.
One is good or the other is good. They're never both good, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it has the Gloombat issue of, like, the Hurricane alone changes so much of players' actions, just out of pure fear of, I do not want to get blown out by Heavy Storm. So I think that Joseph's absolutely right here, that Aviolith suffers from that.
We're going to do all of the Frost at once. Snowlet, Aspral, Blistrix, and more Frost Scorpio form. Let's lead with more
Can we
Frost
just
Scorpio.
go ahead and discard Scorpio
Scorpio's
form?
bad.
I don't...
All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, good, we're done.
Skip Scorpio.
No, okay,
But-
Snowlet, Aspral, and Blistrix are so cool. They're so good. I love these cards.
I do think that it has a lot of really interesting applications, specifically just the idea that if you hit the right cards, it goes off. But I think the other problem there is this deck has the solar problem. And I really think that that's going to be a big detriment for it. It's the fact that when it high rolls, it fucking high rolls and you go nuts. You are completely unbeatable. And if you miss, you're going to die.
No, it's just a tier problem where it never misses, actually. So
if you have a critical
you're
mass of
always
things
going
that
to
hit,
hit.
you always hit.
Exactly. There you go. Boom.
All right.
60% of the time, it hits every time.
People did say tier was going to be bad because you have to hit them, and turns out it's not gambling if you have like a 90% chance of hitting.
It's not so much that you have to hit them, it's that you have to hit them while the previous versions are on the board.
All right. Cockray, Draco Ray, Dragulus.
They really out here naming a guy Cockeray. So we actually got to reveal these on Caster's Corner. Woo! And more specifically, Trish got to reveal these on Caster's Corner.
I will speak for Trish on this one. These cards are crazy. Cockeray in particular is crazy. Dragulus is like,
Yeah, Dragulus is kind of mid.
Yeah,
but
it's
the other
not good.
two are crazy.
Okay.
In a world that you have, well, first of all, Cockeray finally has like good stats for solar. Being a 4/1 does matter a lot. We finally have a semi-good solar beater. Draco Ray, the heal matters a lot. So even the fact that this fills the same role as like a Cryovern did in Frost with Cryoling matters a lot. First Light is not hard to get. It means that the foretell version of solar got a lot better. If you have Cockeray and Soulbell on the field with a First Light, you just win the game. The game just ends on the spot. So yeah, I think they're insane. They're really cool.
I think that these will be staple in every single solar deck moving forward. Like you said, Cockeray having four attack is critical for solar, but I think more interestingly is the fact that Draco Ray just becomes a 7-drop that is it's a 7 attack Quackle, and that is kind of awesome. Yeah. And it's not hard to get to, because even if you just ascend up into it from any of your solar guys, that also is really good. I do not see a world where solar decks are not playing Cock and Drac.
I love that you said that. All right, Armadon and Gardon.
Armadon's the best water support we've ever gotten.
Really, really good stats.
Armadon is very cool.
Very cool water card.
Armadon is a really great Mudlet support piece.
It's also an Eddie support piece.
That's true, but
it's also crazy with Galaxy.
True. Oh yeah, that's true.
Is Armadon going to cause an FTK with Mudlet?
Not currently.
It could probably happen eventually, but whatever.
It could. Oh, it for sure could happen eventually, but I do not think it will currently cause one.
The day that we have a prediction Princess FTK and Elestrals, the game dies.
You listen, dude. You've made enough FTKs to where you're not allowed to say anything about that. All right, Armadon is cool. Gardon is
bad.
Kind of trash. Kind of just trash.
If we're lucky, it's mid. Got it. Luxomare and Aosdale.
Very bad.
All right, Artemis.
Aosdale's cool.
Wait, hold. I'm sorry. I love Aosdale. I hate Luxomare. I think Luxomare is completely trash, and I do not think that card will actually see any kind of play. I just love Aosdale once again as a 2-dropper for solar.
But hold on, you have to actually be able to hit something. Weren't you saying earlier that the issue with solar is that you never hit enough?
That was Frost.
No, that was Frost.
You said
solar
it's both.
Is completely different. Well, I said that it was the solar problem of high roll, but the thing is, solar's problem with high roll is that you currently need to hit very specific things for it to be good. Aosdale being able to hit any one spirit solar Elestral actually makes it worth considering, because it effectively, you ascend over something and then can just spit out something else immediately alongside it. I think that makes it worth considering as a 2-drop for solar. I do not think that the Luxomare and Cunning offer, I do not think that is going to be the way you get to Aosdale. I think it is just going to be a potential 2-dropper that you could play. But I think the biggest problem with Aosdale is that it is going to be competing with deck space with Draco Ray. And I think that Draco Ray is better.
I think your exact words were 60% of the time it works every time. All right. Temple of the Moon is going to be your Lunar Stadium. It's the exact same as all the other stadiums. There's nothing to talk about here. In between those, though, we have all of the lunar phases. Some of them are better than others. Just hit me with the actual.
Fire it off.
Which ones are playable?
Full Moon.
Full Moon is playable.
So New Moon is good. It's mini Earthquake, so that one's good. Waning Crescent is Don't Poke the Bear for Lunar if you pair it along with other lunar phases, so it's good. First quarter, bad, but it's good to bait out Hurricane. Waning Gibbous is Mudlet, so if that ends up being okay, well, it's like Mudlet for your own Lunar Elestral, so it might be okay. We'll see. Full Moon, obviously the most broken card in the set. Waning Gibbous, not good. It's like okay if you're playing like the whole Ascension line, but pretty bad otherwise. Final Quarter, very, very terrible. Very bad, unless you're doing the 3-drop. And then Waning Crescent is almost like Ambrosia. So like that one's very good.
I think just long and short here is that Lunar Full Moon is nuts just for any deck, and then there's a lot of them that are just splashable into various Lunar decks.
There are 4 very good ones.
Would you agree that Full Moon though is the only one that you could see outside of Lunar decks specifically?
Yeah.
I guess my like thing that I leave here with is this enough to build a deck around with
Yes.
the 5 Elestrals that we have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Divine Healing.
Bad.
Very cool for scrap.
It is a cool card, but it's terrible in my opinion.
I don't think it's that bad.
I think this
I
card's
really
sick.
don't think it's that bad.
I think this card's sick as hell. It's Ambrosia.
It's a really cool design. I just do not see it working out long term outside of something very specific like scrap.
It's just
if you were doing something
Ambrosia,
like
right?
Arcolith, not quite. But like if you were doing Arcolith to a Divine, that's what this card is.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there will eventually be a Divine that wants this, and this card will
its
be
name
like
is
a
Distant
game
Coder.
winner.
Its name is Distant Coder.
I mean,
Fair.
this is sick with Aeolus, right?
Yeah,
makes your
actually,
Aeolus
that's
free.
fair.
This is
I will
kind of
say
sick
this-
with Poseidon.
Okay, you guys are not Poseidon.
It's great with
But
Apollo.
It's
I will
sick with
say
Apollo,
you guys
yeah.
are turning me around on this card. Okay, fair
Yeah,
point.
and then also again,
It's still mid,
It just
but, like-
lets you activate more counter and invoke runes. It is just Ambrosia in any deck that naturally runs divines. It gives you more resources.
Yeah, but it's still deck dependent.
I don't know that it is.
The problem is
I
that
don't think
Ambrosia
this
you
is
can
going
activate
everything.
whenever, but like Divine Healing you have to have another card with it that needed to not die to a Lavalith.
I guess.
Speaking of healing,
Spoiled fruit.
Oh yeah.
I think the
Well,
spoiled fruit
sorry.
is nuts as a
Sorry,
side deck
Mr.
card.
BeanSoldierTV.
Yep. So sad.
I
I don't know why they hit heal stall if they knew that this was right around the corner. They could have left it alone. They could have not done anything to it,
No,
and it would have died on its own.
So spoiled fruit is absolutely a nuts side deck card for sure. Maybe even main deck because everyone plays Ambrosia.
I wouldn't say main
it's
deck
not main
because
deckable.
Hurricane.
That's fair.
It's super duper side deckable though, for sure.
But that is one of the. This is the side deck card of the set.
Sorry, we have to reset. Joseph had to drop out. He's actually sick right now, and he was trying to record this like down with the sickness, and he was in pain. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up without him. Just understand that he thinks Hurricane is like absolutely meta warping, but not necessarily going to see play because it's too meta warping to see play. All right, no stone unturned.
I love this card. So just for context, that's a golem. It searches a golem,
Which
card,
is any lift.
which is any of the lifts, and I think you kind of see where this is going.
And some other
I think
cards.
that this card enables an actual Lith Monarch deck, and that has a lot of really cool applications to me specifically. I like the idea of being able to effectively play a Lith toolbox. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind with this is Verdolith. It puts you down 2 spirits, so Verdolith has its trigger condition a lot more easily accessible. It immediately recovers the spirits that you pay for it. But I think where this has more interesting applications is the fact that this can search for Arcolith and for Lavalith. The limited Lavalith is now technically at 4 copies for one of these kind of decks, and I think that is a really cool application that I'm going to have to experiment with for this set.
I tend to agree with you. I think that it does potentially enable a monolith strategy, monarch lith strategy, monolith. I don't know. There's something there.
I like the name Monolith. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that there
this
is
card is-
something potentially
sorry.
there, but surely it has application in other strategies, right?
It's good in Earth
Earth
because
specifically.
Rummagem is a golem.
Okay,
That too.
sure.
Rummagems. It's also good in Fire because obviously Lavalith, but then Scavicle is also a golem. So like, there's some crossover there, but obviously the spirits don't pay well. But it's an okay card. I don't want to spend 4 spirits on a Lith though.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I will spend 4 spirits on a Lith if they over enchanted a Divine Rune. Tsunami High Tide.
Not good.
It's weird. I wouldn't say I would say mid. I wouldn't say not good.
I would say not
think
good.
that there are I think that there are applications for this card. I think that the fact that it does reimburse you for one of the spirits, effectively it reimburses you for one of the spirits that you took to cast it, is good. I do think that this enables some really good plays, but I do not think that this is going to be playable outside of very specific strategies.
You know what it does do? It burns your opponent with Armadon.
The best water Elestral.
All right, we're here. Let's talk about Hurricane. I think this card is massively overhyped.
I think that I'll reiterate Joseph's point since he can't be here for this. Hurricane as a card itself is not great, but the fact that it is going to exist in the game fundamentally shifts how players are going to play the game. Because Hurricane exists, players are going to be a lot more hesitant to set 2+ runes in the back row, because if your opponent flips a Hurricane, they just blow you out. As such, I personally would be playing Hurricane in the sideboard. I would not be playing it main board, because I would be effectively watching how my opponent plays to determine whether or not it's worth to bring in. If they are setting a large amount of back row, Hurricane is nuts. This card is absolutely insane and can just destroy a game on its own. Into an opponent that's playing very conservatively with their back row, this card is terrible. I would never cast this card. And it really does come down to, I think that this is going to be a side deck inclusion for any deck that is already natively playing Thunder and Water, which is a lot of decks because Starbit and Eddie exist. You can throw in a single copy of Lycoris into the Spirit board to make this happen.
This card does not destroy Divines, and it does not destroy Stadiums. That's a big deal. That's not something that should just be ignored here. Yes, excessive back row is like a big deal in this game, and playing through 3 and 4 back row is a pain in the ass, and I get that. I'm not like discounting or ignoring that, but the specific spirit costs of this card, while they make sense because it is a powerful card, I think it makes it really awkward to play in most decks. And even if I see Eddie and Astrabbit in a deck, unless this is a dedicated Thunder or dedicated Water deck or dedicated Wind deck, I'm not playing around this card. They got to have it, and they got to make their spirit math stupid to play it.
I'm going to just go ahead and say this, though, because I keep thinking about it here. Hurricane just makes Arcolith an absolute devastating card, that even more than it already is. The main thing that stops Arcolith right now is heavy amounts of back row, specifically that of Gorgon's Gaze and Shield, because PTA, who gives a shit. But Hurricane clearing out the back row and then immediately recovering the Thunder Spirit that you put into the Hurricane onto an Arcolith sounds like an absolutely insane blowout that I absolutely love this.
Even if your opponent is setting 1 back row, this card is good. If back row, as the game stands right now, is how you win the game. And if I, for a turn, get to say, you don't have any back row, that isn't... And Helios is bad because they get to keep the back row.
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane...
Also, Helios is delayed for a turn.
And it's delayed for a turn. Hurricane says, you know what? I don't want to play around your back row at all for the rest of this turn.
No
Trifernal
one's denying that it's a
is
good
going
card.
to be one of the most terrifying strategies in Moonrise because of this card even existing, because they're already playing Thunder and Water in Trifernal.
Any deck that needs to connect attacks is going to be playing this.
Draken gets crazy because of this card. I'm
not
trying to think.
denying
You already said Arcolith.
the card is good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not denying that the card is
Yeah.
good. But any card with this effect would read crazy. I'm saying it forces you to do weird spirit math, and unless you're playing,
I'm telling you right now, that doesn't matter.
I'm not playing this card if I'm playing a dedicated fire strategy.
Sonny, did you see my scrap list?
No, I haven't.
65333 for the spirit deck. I could easily fit a wind in there too if I wanted.
All we need to do is fit in a single copy of
five.
So you're
Lycoris.
fitting in
that's
one
fives.
Lycoris, and how many Hurricanes are you playing?
2 to 3.
2 to 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you're playing one Lycoris, you're playing 2 to 3 Hurricanes. So that means you have 1 to 2 dead cards in your deck.
No.
Okay, I guess if you Ambrosia back a Lycoris.
Don't even need to
No,
do
not
that,
even for
baby.
that. If Hurricane comes down, the game is
It's
ending.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say, is that when Hurricane comes down, the game is ending.
I'm saying
Yeah,
there's
if I'm going
handful of
Hurricane,
decks
normal, Rabbit,
that cannot
that's
play
dumb.
this.
No, I think every single deck can play this. No problem.
Because every single deck can already play Rabbit and Eddy, I think that Hurricane has a much easier sell.
Yeah. It's like people teching in like the 1 Frost Spirit for 3 Cryoblast.
Yeah.
It's the same
I
thing.
understand that I'm probably wrong. I don't think this is Heavy Storm. I don't think this card is as
I think
good.
this is even better.
Yeah. it is really good.
I'm not denying that it's good. I just think it's a little bit more awkward than people are giving it credit for. It won't be everywhere, and you don't need to play around it nearly as much as people think you do.
I don't think that you can play around it.
I don't think you can either.
You're going to set 1 every single turn, and like that's perfectly fine because the turn that Hurricane comes down, you just lost the game. So I'll give you the thought process with Earth right now, because I think that that's a very good parallel to where Hurricane is at. So the best way to play against Earth is you set 1 back row at a time to play around Equilinx, and you have to play around Equilinx the entire game, and that's a 2-card combo, which is why Earth players now are playing Thunderstorm to snipe the 1 back row, and when the Vis connects and then they have a back row set, you have just lost the game.
Sure.
So this essentially makes every deck play like there is an Equilinx in their hand, which when it does come down and you have the combo to end the game, you just end the game. This in Lunar with Pharaohgeist, if I have Full Moon set, I go Hurricane, blow up their whole back row, and I chain my Full Moon so that I don't care about the back row pop. Now it just means that, boom, I have a free Pharaohgeist, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I'll leave Hurricane on this. All right, I'll leave us with this on Hurricane. I'm really bad at card evaluation. I always have been. I look at cards and I think, that's the craziest card ever, i.e. Spinosect. I look at other cards and I say, this card is dog shit. This card is horrible. And it turns into like the most broken, busted card ever. I do it constantly. But I've also sat here and heard Frost is going to break the game and be the best deck that's ever been released. I've heard Solar is going to break the game and be the best deck ever released. I hear X card is good, I hear Y card is good, and none of these cards ever make an impact. It is hard for me to buy all the way in on Hurricane and just ignore the downsides of this card. It's very hard for me to ignore the downsides of this card because I genuinely believe not destroying Stadium and not destroying Divine Runes is an issue, especially in matchups like Thunder, especially in matchups like Earth. I am not convinced that the Spirit math is going to make sense to a lot of players. Josh, you're not a normal player. You can play a Spirit deck that's got 8 different spirits in it and not have an issue.
Hell yeah.
The vast majority of players they play very comfy Spirit math. This card does not allow for comfy Spirit math. I'm not convinced that this card will be ubiquitous. That's all I'm saying.
I'll be honest. I think that Hurricane, if this was a Fire, Lunar, Solar card, I would agree with you. The fact that 2 of the 3 spirits are played in every single deck makes this an extremely generic card that only needs 1 wind spirit to account for it.
And that is
like
that
genuinely,
is a fair point.
I would completely agree with you if it wasn't exactly these 3 spirits.
And that is a fair point.
I think the only spirit in this that is awkward is the wind. And yeah,
but
obviously we're just gonna have to wait and see. But this card to me reads really good. Really good. At first I thought it was just really good as a side deck card, but I actually would fully agree with Josh. For decks that have a big connect bomb, this card is just nuts.
Aurora Borealis, Cunning Offer, and Helios' Slumber. Helios' Slumber is good, right?
Slumber has its uses both in solar and in frost.
Oh, it's a counter rune. Never mind. I don't like this card.
Yep, got worse. There you go.
I'm good.
Well, I do think it has purpose in solar and in frost because it can stack an Electroly from the underworld back on top of deck for you to mill. There's your Asfowl win con right there.
If it was an invoke, it would be good.
Yeah. Cunning Offer is trash. I do not think that there is really any deck that is going to want to play Cunning Offer to any real extent outside of very specific burn decks. And even then, I do not think that they want to go to combat to burn you.
Give me your favorite full art.
Tornadian. I love the big imposing, just the... Like, I actually do think that. It's probably between Tornadian and Starbit Supernova for me.
I gotta say Starbit Supernova. It's so cool.
It's a really good one.
It's such a cool full art.
My favorite in this entire set is Fulgorix. Dude, the Fulgorix full art is insane. This is so cool. That's the coolest full art, bar none. I'm just going to say that. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening to today's episode of the Expend to Drop podcast. As I mentioned earlier, if you're looking to get all of your TCG player singles, you can get them from BeanSoldierTV. You can get those from him on TCG Player, and to get to him, you can click on our TCG Player affiliate link in the description down below. And of course, if you want to go ahead and get your MOONRISE pre-orders, go ahead and go to
click our affiliate
link down below. I will link it. Also, the affiliate link down below.
Linking it directly.
And also, if you're not subscribed to Shattered Stars, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to Shattered Stars, because every single month you get wonderful things. Like you get this month, it's buy one get one free on all the old Shattered Stars packs, things of that sort. It's always worth having.
Oh yeah, Lunar sold out.
Yeah,
Lunar
it's like
sold out.
One of the best deals they've ever done.
Yeah, absolutely.
The buy one get one free on all the backstock of Shattered Stars is bananas. You should absolutely do it.
Gosh, Water and Wind are also about to sell out, according to Dan.
I think the Wind one is crazy.
Oh yeah, no, Celebrations is also shockingly about to sell out. I think it's because not a whole lot of people went in on Celebrations.
Yeah.
And now that it's buy one get one free, like, why wouldn't you?
If you want extra Gorgons, get the fire.
All right. Well, again, thank you everyone for tuning into today's episode. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, become a channel member. We can do that now. We have channel memberships available now.
Yippee!
Give us your money.
They don't do anything, but you can do it and support
Give us your money.
You should do something with them.
Yes, like giving us your money. And until next time, happy casting, everyone.
Like, comment, subscribe to us, and subscribe to Works.
True.
And the Illustronauts.
Oh yeah, and the Electroly.
No, Josh, cut this.